Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the T.H.O. Movie Reviews podcast, the show where we bring you passionate, honest, and insightful film criticism. I'm your host, Bennett Campbell Ferguson, and I'm here today to do a commentary on Alfred Hitchcock's masterwork, North by Northwest. And I'm joined by a very special guest who is the first member of my family ever to do one of these. It's my sister, Fiona Ferguson. Fiona, I normally ask people how they are, but I've been with you most of the day, so it seems like you're doing fine.
I'm fine, just fine.
I'm fine too, especially because we're going to watch this movie. I mean, we both love this since we were like little kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It just gets better every time, really.
I know. Yeah, I think like there's so much about it that I remember the first time just thinking like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever, and now it's like the camera angles, the war is hell, Mr. Thorne, leave him at the coal mine, and that's actually deep, like.
No, I think so too.
Oh, so I'm excited. Let's dive right in. For those of you who have not listened to a commentary with T.H.O. before, what we do is we go to the menu, and then we count down to 0, and we all start play movie, hit play at the same time. So if you're watching the movie, you can watch along with us in spirit. And I don't think there's anything left to say except let's do this and try not to get drunk on bourbon and drive off a cliff. All right, and okay, and 3, 2, 1, play. We have the MGM logo coming up here, and the one thing I've been excited to talk about this is the music.
Yeah.
Plays over the MGM logo. I don't know if that was that common back then. I mean, because that happens now, like with the Harry Potter music, like starting over the Warner Brothers logo or something. Mm-hmm. But usually it's like studios have their own little fanfare, and this it's like we're going in,
Yeah, I think so. It must not have been very common, because it seems like they were probably keen on. Well, I mean, it's from the studio system, so. Yeah.
Well, and I think Hitchcock was kind of like for someone who had like such like a clear voice, he was very good at like working within the system. And I mean,
yeah,
it's like such a great example of a filmmaker who so smart, but deliver the goods. Glamorous locations, suspense, action. I mean.
Yeah, I don't think he ever really had lots of trouble getting his movies made within the system, except for more like romantic scenes that were a bit sort of censored. But he's very clever at getting around that, like in To Catch a Thief with cutting away to the fireworks.
That's funny, I didn't even think about it. Like, yeah. I think I thought before, like, the fireworks. Oh, they're pretty,
Yeah.
But now I think about it, you're right. It's like a metaphor, isn't it?
Yeah, it's to get around the code, which I think really makes it more exciting.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. People often say that, which was that the code was in a lot of ways a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the cliche that art thrives on limitations is true.
And there he is.
There's his cameo. I think
a pretty obvious cameo.
I know, yeah. That's one of the more obvious ones. I think about his cameos and like I don't know with any filmmaker like this who's like so controlling. There's a temptation to like kind of like read something into everything. But I think the cameos are just him having fun.
Yeah, I think it's just to be cute.
Yeah,
I read too. He was kind of like one of the first filmmakers who was kind of a celebrity himself, so he's kind of making fun of that. Isn't back then like not many filmmakers were famous like they are now?
Well, that's
more just the actors.
That is interesting
giants.
Because I mean, of course, you and I have both taken a lot of film classes. We both like heard all the talk about the height of the studio system,
Yeah.
and like a director's job wasn't to be an individual; it was to blend in. But he was he wasn't like that. I mean, he was laying the ground for the Spielbergs of the world and stuff, who like are kind of like almost a genre unto themselves.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, didn't he, we just saw him like get into the cab? Didn't he say like, oh, I have a very sick woman here?
Yeah, he did.
That's so funny.
I like the thing he says to his secretary when he says, like, do I look heavyish to you? And she says no, and he says, I feel heavyish. It's just like it's kind of obvious, but it's like kind of nice little way to imply he's not happy.
Yeah.
And he kind of needs a bit of an adventure to mix things up in his life, and maybe it'll make him a better person.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like that. I think that's such a good point. And the thing is, like, I mean, all these like horrible things happen to him, but like, I don't know if we see him in like really serious distress necessarily.
No.
I think he's having a pretty good time.
Yeah, he seems to be. What's probably one of those things that is unpleasant in the moment, but you might look back on and enjoy.
Yeah.
I thought that was actually pretty good. It's funny watching it with the subtitles, because you notice like how much dialogue in a movie is just sort of like filler, but it's necessary, just kind of de rigueur.
Yeah.
Phrases, but you don't even notice it when you're actually watching it. It's kind of funny.
I noticed a bunch of stuff at the beginning. It was
Yeah.
like total filler
That you don't even notice.
Yeah. Now that was funny, that thing where he says to his assistant, like, oh, you can't call my mother, she's a whatever. And it's funny to think, like, that's what gets him into trouble.
It's just so trivial. He's worried about the mother, and the mother's not at the apartment because the paint's drying or something like that. They're about to say here. Okay, you won't be able to reach her. She's playing bridge with one of her cronies. Yeah, the new apartment, wet paint, no telephone yet.
Oh my gosh.
It's so funny how
perhaps if I send her a telegram. Sorry, go ahead.
It's so funny how and this is the great moment when they notice, and they sort of
nice zoom in.
Zoom in, yeah.
It was very menacing.
It's funny that like all problems in old movies are totally like negligible, or they don't apply nowadays. Like the paint's wet and there's no telephone. Like this, like the whole movie would never happen now.
I know. You see, and this is why I kind of, one of many reasons I miss the older era, because like I just, and this is why I feel for people like who want to want to do period pieces, because they there's a lot of then you can have problems that can't just be solved by a phone.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the potential for great little misconnections is much greater in the past. I mean, nowadays it's pretty hard to miss people, which can be unfortunate. I love how the villains in Hitchcock movies are just sort of so ordinary looking, and like you wouldn't pick them out of a crowd.
I
know. It just makes them so much creepier. I mean, these two here are just so kind of banal.
The guy with his hair slicked straight back, the one with the insane widow's peak.
The insane widow's peak.
He really frightens me.
He's scary, yeah, because you wouldn't notice him, and you wouldn't think, oh yeah, that's a bad guy. They're not like Bond villains.
Yeah, he's very like kind of like bland and waspy looking.
Yeah, very waspy. Yeah.
Isn't he the one who's pretending to be the gardener later?
I think he is. Yeah. I just like to point out too how great Cary Grant's clothes are in this movie. I mean, the suit, the tie, and the jacket, and the pants, they're all the same gray. They kind of go with his hair. It's just this very streamlined look.
The gray suits, I mean, that's just like, that's just so dignified and elegant. And
cufflinks. It's interesting how the color palette of this movie is so muted. I don't know if that was popular. I'm assuming that was popular at the time, but like the back of the car, it's so gray.
Yeah.
And drab.
And even the guy in the hat is wearing it.
Yeah, even the green here of the lawn as they're driving up, it's not really a green. It's sort of muted.
By the way, those shots, the POV shots when he's looking out the window of the car, that's really striking.
I feel like Hitchcock's really good at the POV shot.
Yeah. Well, there's that great POV shot. Although there's probably a lot later in the crop dusting scene.
Yeah, which is just great.
I'm always looking for that in action. Like I want to be like, I want to feel like I'm in the action. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, it makes it scarier, really.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this movie is really scary exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
it's yeah, not frightening, really.
It's exciting.
It's exciting.
It's
yeah.
fun. I don't.
Scary moments.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit scary when they hold him down and throw the bourbon into him, because that sort of feels like something that could really happen.
Yeah,
like
it just feels sort of real.
Yeah, them, putting him in the car, that's, getting, delightfully outlandish.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that happening, really.
Yeah, I think Martin Landau's pretty kind of scary in this.
Martin Landau he's Leonard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's here. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just kind of creepy.
They provide you with such good ones. James Mason is really remarkable.
I feel like the books in the library, they look so clearly arranged by color, like not like it's a real library. It's just like for show. You got the little stack of red books and the green books.
It's funny. I never thought of that, but now that you mention it, I wonder, like, is that what's James Mason's character's name again?
Yeah.
I just think of him as James Mason.
I'll
just say James Mason. James Mason, is it that he likes to put on a show?
Yeah.
Or is it that, that none of this movie is in the real world, and Hitchcock wants things to look beautiful?
I could be that. I mean, it is like no one's in the real world. I mean, James Mason is kind of acting, and then he accuses Cary Grant later on of acting, and he
really is acting.
He really
then.
is.
Like.
Oh yeah, and Cary Grant accuses the lady of James Mason, who's pretending to be the lady of the house or something.
Yeah.
What a performance.
That's true. That really is a motif.
It's kind of a motif. I mean, that's something people kind of say about Hitchcock. He's sort of like playing with sort of like self-reflexive, like playing with the idea of movie making itself,
sure,
and Rear Window, and
sure, yeah,
maybe acting in this.
Of course, we were just talking about that, the argument that Rear Window is an allegory.
Yeah,
and you made some interesting points about why that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, I think people usually think of it as an allegory for watching or for making a movie. But there's lots of ways you could look at it.
Yeah. Well, also too, I mean, like you were talking about, like the censors and whatnot, and I mean, there's obviously not like graphic sex scenes in any of these films, but sex is a big part of them, and I mean, you could even think like, well, they're all role playing.
Yeah,
it's like there's that frisson,
Mm-hmm. I wonder.
This is freaky.
This is how he's just there. That is freaky, and the way they shot that too.
Yeah,
kind of like close up, and like typically in these movies, they start with a more medium shot and slowly move into the close up. But just to have like a character appear like that is sort of disturbing.
That's very abrupt and frightening.
Yeah. And then he's just sort of behind him all of a sudden. That's creepy.
Yeah. So, I mean, now James Mason is, reading this list of places where he was as George Kaplan. I mean, like, this is, I mean, I feel like, like we all, go through life with some sense of injustice, like with some sense that life isn't fair, and it's, in most cases we all have to sort of just deal with that. Like, life isn't fair, but this movie kind of fulfills a great fantasy, which is that, like, it's not that life isn't fair, it's that, like, an evil guy who's like selling government secrets to Russia or something is like he's like setting you up and mistaking you for a secret agent. It's not your fault.
I guess that's the great thing about this type of story. Everyone can relate to it because you've all had that feeling of life isn't fair, so you all kind of understand his frustration.
It's very relatable. Yeah,
it's very relatable. Yeah.
And it's funny, like I mean, of course it's escapism. Of course it's extraordinary entertainment. But I mean, it wouldn't have endured as long as it's endured had it not been relatable. Yeah,
definitely.
Oh, the whiskey case that's later going to be filled with books. I find that funny. It's like, who would put books in that? Like, with the closed door? Like, that doesn't look like a bookshelf like that. Like,
why would you have a bookcase with closed doors in a library? All those other books. Maybe they put the rare books in there that they don't want the sun to get to them or something.
Well, no, this here is really the first act of physical violence in the movie, and it's
pretty close up too.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, he waits so long to show it.
Yeah, it is kind of all very friendly until that, and gentlemanly.
Yeah, great building of the suspense. Oh gosh, the sky that looks like that kind of like Technicolor Magic Hour.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I wonder if this was on a soundstage.
This looks like a set.
It looks very like I don't know, which I like. I like old Hollywood. Slick look.
The great thing about old Hollywood is whenever they film on location, it looks like a set too.
Yeah,
they just seem really great at making things look fake. But I kind of enjoy that personally.
I enjoy that too. Well, I mean, in Holiday Inn, the real Holiday Inn and the set Holiday Inn
look the same. What is it about old movies too? How people are so bad at acting drunk?
I know, yeah, people...
look at him, he just looks completely insane.
We're about to see some really good... He's just waving his head
around in the car.
I like some of the shots later where his eyes are really wide. Do you think that... Well, that's a really terrifying shot. That's pretty good.
Again, the POV shot.
Oh my god.
Which really makes you kind of sick.
Whoa. The wheel hanging off the cliff like that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
More good drunk.
Yeah, just kind of blinking a lot.
Do you think that every actor basically just they try to act like Charlie Chaplin drunk?
Yeah.
And because it's no, but he must have known this was funny. I mean,
he must have. I mean, he was quite good at comedy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, this was. I mean, he did bring a baby along before this, of course.
Yeah, he did lots of comedies. So funny.
Wow! Yeah. The double vision. That's
good. Yeah.
That is so. Whoa! And then. He's on the wrong side of the road.
You kind of don't picture that. It doesn't seem like that was a thing people did often back then, the double vision.
I can't think of any other older movies that did that. Yeah, actually, I can't think of many movies that do that now.
Yeah, it's kind of clever too. I mean, this is a pretty good way to do it. It's fairly low tech, like the POV shots they must have actually taken, and then the stuff he's doing is done in the studio. I'm assuming so. But it kind of works well, having the reaction shots. Yeah,
you're right. I mean, a lot of this must just be rear projection.
Yeah, but it actually doesn't look too bad since it's supposed to be at night anyways.
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
It's pretty good. You kind of don't think about it too much.
I think it actually looks better than when he was in the taxi at the beginning.
Yeah, it does.
And that, being nostalgic, I like that too. The poor lone biker who's not wearing a helmet.
Boy. And then they just kind of creepily pull away.
And here come the Glencoe police. Oh, there they go.
The Glencoe police.
They're my favorite characters.
Definitely a police name that's not very threatening.
Yeah. Well, like you were saying the other day about Nantucket Police.
Yeah.
What was the other one you were saying?
The Poughkeepsie Police.
Poughkeepsie Police. That's really
It just
unthreatening.
sounds like sort of Baywatch, like version of police or something. Not that they're police in Baywatch. But.
Sorry to all our many fans in Poughkeepsie who are listening.
Yeah.
No, we have no fans in Poughkeepsie.
Well, you never know. Kind of using his physical comedy talents here.
He's very funny in this scene.
I like this scene a lot. I always think it's very funny. He tries to lie down on the little bench. Kind of convenient that the car was just reported stolen as he was doing it.
Yeah, these Glen Cove police are not that sharp. You know, they didn't think about the timing.
I love telephone names in old movies. Like he just gave the name of the telephone, Butterfield, something. It just sounds like really cute and old timey.
It does sound, yeah. I wonder even like what Butterfield is supposed to be.
I don't know, the apartment or something. I don't know.
Mother! No, Mother, I have not been drinking.
One plot hole is, why is he British but his mother isn't? And why is he like, I read that he was the same age practically as the actress who plays his mother.
You know, I've been looking forward to talking about
yeah, we'll get to that.
I don't know whether that's like horrible that they like cast it like that, you know, and or that it's like if it's actually like kind of like a good joke. I don't know.
Maybe you just have to kind of go with it. I mean,
you know, and it's funny watching the movie all these years. I never questioned that.
Yeah, you never think about it really.
I just always thought like, oh, of course, you know, she's his mother.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's really weird. I mean, they look the same age.
He's like in his 50s. Why is his mother in her 50s too?
Yeah.
Why does he have any mother at all? I mean, he could have a mother in her 60s, sure. Yeah, it's just very strange. Maybe it's the sort of severe styles back then. The mother does seem rather old. And, I don't know, he gets away with seeming a little younger maybe than he really is. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe is it that they dressed her up in really dowdy clothes?
Yeah.
And him, they make him look really stylish, and
and
his face doesn't even look that wrinkled. Like,
yeah, he aged really well. I mean, he's in such like good shape and everything. He looks really young. Yeah. And yet, not like he's trying to look young. It's sort of natural.
Yeah.
Maybe they made up some little story for themselves, like he'd been educated in England, and that's why he had an accent.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't really explain. I think he would have more of a posh accent than a Cockney accent. Does he count as having a Cockney accent? I'm not really sure. Well, he's from Surrey, I guess, so I don't know.
He has one of those, like odd accents, like it's...
Oh, there's the mother.
Oh, the debut of Mother. And there, now we have his useless lawyer.
His lawyer is, I think, the social worker in Rebel Without a Cause.
What, you're kidding? Really?
I think that's the same guy. I knew he looked familiar.
Was the social worker from the first scene?
Yeah, Ray.
That's a really striking scene.
Yeah, that's a really good scene.
I love that whole, especially the beginning, the first time you see Natalie Wood.
Yeah, she's wearing bright red.
Yeah, and I think like the camera's even like zooming in on her while she's talking.
Yeah, that's really good.
I kind of like that it starts with her instead of James Dean, and then we kind of move on to. You're tearing me apart.
You're tearing me apart. I think that's the same actor. Looks like him. And all these people are under contract, so like, the new thing is that with that, I mean, obviously it wasn't a great system, but even the supporting roles are played by people under contract who are actually really good actors.
That is so funny.
And nowadays, you know, it kind of makes these movies really good. I mean, nowadays you just have, like, sort of a lame extra.
Yeah.
And the mother does wear weird outfits. Like, here she's got this big old fur collar and, like, a funny little hat. And a weird little hairdo. It's a bit much.
Yeah, it's a bad hairdo, man.
Yeah.
It was interesting, the whole issue of, like, having people under contract and the like I think it's interesting, like, that, you know, Humphrey Bogart, before he was a star, came up, like, playing, like, smaller roles.
Yeah.
I assume for Warner Brothers, you know, and then, like, he got to graduate to stuff like The Big Sleep.
In a way, as an actor, I'm sure it was horrible, but you would get to work regularly, so that's kind of nice. I mean, I know you kind of just stop one movie. I mean, it would be like more of a regular job in a way. You would just keep working.
The closest equivalent I can think of it now, and this is very, very different, but I think, like Wes Anderson's movies, and how, like, it almost feels like it's a traveling theater troupe.
Yeah.
Where it's like everybody's always, you know, everybody puts on a different wig or something for each movie to, you know, I mean, obviously you have, like, fresh stuff like Ray Fiennes coming in later, but...
Yeah.
This is such a great scene.
It's a great scene. This is like a scene in the play, sort of.
That's very true.
Like so many characters in one room.
By the way, we should mention Ernest Lehman.
Yeah.
I mean, wrote this script, wrote the film script for West Side Story, wrote the Sound of Music. I mean...
And it's really good, too.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It's funny because I watched a movie that he wrote, I think from the 60s, with Paul Newman and, I think it's Elka Summer, and called The Prize, and Paul Newman's a Nobel Prize winner, and it's like the same exact story as North by Northwest, but it's not as good. and Edward G. Robinson is in it too, but this is much better. This is a much better. I mean, this was first, so it's a better version of that.
What is Edward G. Robinson trying to be, like a James Mason type?
Well, it's really stupid. It's like Paul Newman won the Nobel Prize, and Edward G. Robinson won it for physics or some sort of science thing. And then Edward G. Robinson has an evil twin brother who takes his place, and only Paul Newman realizes that someone else has taken his place, and the evil Soviets have kidnapped the real Edward G. Robinson.
Oh my God.
But no one trusts Paul Newman because he's a horrible drunk, and yeah, this is a much better version. And again, I like how in this no one trusts him, like in this scene, you know, no one's listening to him. But it's not really because he's such a untrustworthy guy, and he's not a drunk or a druggie or anything really bad. It's just sort of the frustration that could almost happen to anyone, you know?
Yeah.
That people would not listen to you.
Yeah.
The feeling of not having a voice is, I think, relatable.
I think so. And the funny thing is, like, it's so clear to him. I mean, because this happened to him.
Yeah, he knows.
He knows. And it's like, and yet you kind of understand, like, through the perspective of the police, like,
yeah.
Like, well, it would seem pretty far-fetched, but...
Yeah, totally. Ooh, that's a good shot.
See, I like you have that beat with the, you know, quote-unquote Gardner at the end, like, kind of letting us know something's going on.
Yeah.
He's not crazy, you know?
Lets you know he's right. Yeah, so you know who to trust.
I like that, you know, this whole thing that, you know, he's gonna break into a hotel room.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it with his mother.
He's gonna do it with his mother.
It's like, this movie is a really, like, kind of, you know, just, it's in some ways, it's a very bizarre love song to the relationship parents have with their children.
Yeah. Of course, in this case, parents and children are the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah, very strange. I wonder about that if they just simply didn't have any older actresses under contract.
Yeah,
Like, did they
maybe.
They were so uninterested in older women, it was like, don't even have any available.
Yeah, because it was like, I mean, it's such a... I mean, still to this day, like, movies about older women, it's almost treated as this weird, like, niche.
Yeah, weird novelty.
It's like, it's like, it's like, you know, like, occasionally there's, like, a star vehicle for Judi Dench.
Yeah, or Sally Hawkins.
Or Sally...
She's not even that old, really. But
That's true, yeah.
And it's so funny how whenever there's movies with older women, it seems like such a novelty and, like, such a shock, and things that are really obvious are treated like big revelations, like the one with Sally Hawkins. Was it Dolores, that one? Or
What's that one, Maudie? No,
not Sally Hawkins. But I'm getting confused. But anyhow, where she likes the younger guy.
Wait. Hello, my name is Doris.
Doris. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
it was
I didn't
like
see
treated
that.
as a big like, oh my, an older woman can like a younger man. So shocking. It's like it really shouldn't be. Now it's not really a big surprise. I think.
And I think that movie was directed by the guy who directed The Big Sick.
Oh yeah.
Emphasis on guy.
So
it's like, I mean,
it was a surprise to him. I don't know.
It's like, I mean, like, can't someone should really just make a movie where that whole thing is like treated very matter of factly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, any older person's at some point turn their eyes to a younger person regardless of gender.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I mean, people are not made of stone. People notice attractive people.
Yeah, it's not really a big surprise.
Yeah. Although I gotta say, if I was Sally Field, I don't think Schmidt from New Girl is the guy I'd be turning my gaze to.
Yeah, well.
Don't get me wrong, I like him. He's very funny, but
Yeah.
He's no Jake Johnson.
Definitely. No doubt about it.
This actress who plays the maid is very funny, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, you're the gentleman in the room, aren't you?
Yeah, can I help it if you're never around?
He almost seems like he's like trying to charm her. He brings
kind of
her into the room and
tries to charm everyone, I guess.
Yeah. Now this is very good. The kind of the parade of people coming into the room, like Elsie, and now the guy putting the suit in the closet, and none of them have seen them. Like it's such a great, like, kind of succinct way to establish, like, this is all very weird. This is right.
Something's off here, and they all think he's Kaplan.
Oh, and he said he called him on the phone.
Yeah.
To describe the suit to him. I wonder who made the call, and did they have a voice that sounded like Cary Grant?
Yeah, they probably didn't have his accent.
I'm beginning to think that no one in the hotel actually has seen Kaplan. Wonder if I look like Kaplan.
I love this little bit with the suit. He doesn't look like Kaplan. The sleeves
No,
are too short.
that looks horrible on him.
It's so funny because, you can't imagine Cary Grant wearing something that didn't fit perfectly.
No,
It just makes it so laughable. And I love his line here. They've obviously mistaken me for a much shorter man.
He's kind of indignant. Like,
he really is. I like how he's just sort of the perfect gentleman throughout it all.
Yeah.
He kind of takes things in this sort of very in stride.
This is like, movies now, and I feel like I keep saying, mean things about movies now. I really love, so many movies that are made these days, but I think one thing that movies now have lost is, like, kind of the ability to create, like, a satisfying fantasy world.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see a lot of, movies now where there's, like, a hero who's, like, really cool like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, and the characters now that are supposed to be cool, they're not actually cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, like I like, you know, like, say, I don't know. I have Thor on the brain right now because I just saw Thor Ragnarok. But I think, like, you know, Chris Hemsworth, like, he's obviously meant to be cool, but it's like, I don't know that, like, you know, watching a movie with him, I don't get, like, caught up in the fun of his coolness the way I do with, like, Cary Grant. Like,
yeah.
it's like, you know, like this, I feel like, you know, like, this is a fantasy world where this guy is in danger in these perfect suits, and you know, he's irresistible, and yet because Cary Grant's such a good actor, you get the escapist fantasy, and you believe in him as a real person with real wants and desires, and
yeah, totally. I mean, you totally fall in love with him every time.
yeah,
I think
he's really charming. Who can
he's
resist
so
him?
charming. Yeah,
And he's about to have one of his most charming moments here.
yeah,
And, well, his mother too.
His mother too. Here he gets all the ladies to come out of the elevator first.
Ladies first!
Only he can pull that off. Oh dear.
He was very. I love scenes like that, like where there's like a confined space and the bad guys are in there and just slip away. And...
yeah, I like too how he talks to the cab driver, but you don't ever see the cab driver's face, and he says, "You know, I'm being followed. Can you do something about that?" And he said, "Yes, I can." But you don't ever see him, so he kind of like it just adds to this sort of. Well, I guess you see the back of his head there.
You don't see his face though.
It adds this sort of alienation he's feeling. Like this is the moment when I think he's been fully kind of cut off from the world. It kind of was gradual, and then this is it. Like he had to leave the mother and sort of almost like Freudian in a way that he was like cut off from the mother.
That's a really incredible observation. Like it's
I
mean, there's the idea that this journey he's going on is tapping into this really primal stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he doesn't meet, you know, his lover until he leaves his mother.
Yeah, that rhymed. It's
lover,
true.
mother. I mean, in a way, it is this. I suppose you could argue that this is sort of a coming of age story.
It kind of is. A coming of age, middle age.
Yeah, coming of middle age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he can't. Yeah, I mean, he sort of meets her right after leaving the mother, so there is that element. And also, it's kind of interesting, too, like, I think he's been fully cut off, and he's going into this big United Nations building that's, like, so cold and impersonal, and they've got this weird system for paging people, and it's sort of, like, seems like being lost in the shuffle of modern life, and
that's fascinating.
not having the connection with people anymore, and feeling very on your own.
And then it's the United Nations, and he's entering a world of international espionage. So it's his entry onto the global stage as well.
Yeah. Maybe it kind of fits, too, that you don't really know what nationality he has in any of his movies. Like, is he British? Is he American? I mean, he seems to be playing an American, but definitely has an English accent.
Yeah,
so it kind of puts him in this kind of isolated, weird limbo that kind of works well for this movie.
You know, it's funny, until I learned he was British, I actually thought he was American.
Yeah, you never think about it, really.
Yeah, it seems weird now, but...
Yeah.
I really like the real Lester
I always
Townsend.
really liked him, too. He just seemed like a nice man.
Yeah, and it's really kind of sad, like, you know, my wife has been dead for many years.
Yeah, my wife has been dead for many years.
He seems like a nice guy. He's trying to help, and Bennett throw a knife in his back.
Oh, poor thing. You gotta feel bad for him.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the bit in the 39 Steps when the woman gets the knife in her back at the beginning.
Oh.
And the guy, she just sort of falls in his room with a knife in her back. And so it makes me think of that, and I wonder if they recycled that a bit.
I
But
think
it definitely
you're right.
works.
I think you're right. I think the 39 Steps has so much in common with this movie. They're both about fugitives. They both use a train prominently.
Train.
They both have like kind of like a vaguely political,
vaguely.
thing going on.
Oh, there's
such
the knife
great
in the
timing. Well, and you don't even see him throw the knife. That's brilliant.
Yeah, and it's great too how he shows him the photograph and he kind of gasps, and you first think it's because of the photograph, and then you're like, no, it's because he's been hit in the back.
Right. I know. I remember seeing it for the first time. It's like oh, he's seen something really bad in the photograph.
Yeah. Doesn't it occur to them that it's just like it would be too obvious.
Yeah.
I love this weird overhead shot.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Maybe like a model or something.
It
and
does
you
kind
see
of
the
look
little
like a model.
person running, so I don't know how they did that exactly, but it's cool, right? It's a little doll or something. I don't know.
So this, I've been really interested to talk to you about this scene, because I understand why it's in here, because I think like structurally it gives us kind of a breather. We've just gone through this incredibly intense scene. We're about to get into stuff that's way more intense.
Yeah.
We almost need to be lifted out of the action, I think, for a minute. But then again, at the risk of daring to doubt the master, was it right to kind of pull the curtain back so early?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's a weird choice. I mean, I don't think they do it in a movie now, for sure.
I don't think so, yeah. And I think, I don't know. We know now that, or at least we sense, Van Damme, that's his name.
Van Damme, of course.
We know now that, I guess the CIA is involved, and,
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, I suppose you sort of have to introduce the CIA guy now, so it makes sense when he appears later.
True. And also it kind of almost ends up making the situation more dire, because you learn that the CIA aren't going to lift a finger to help him.
That's true.
So
That's a really good point.
When you see him back on the train, you're like, oh no, he's in for it now. There's no one out there that's going to help him.
Yeah, that is a really good point. Yeah. And he's that raises the stakes.
It raises the stakes.
Oh, that's his problem.
That's his problem. Yeah. I like too the little pops of red in this, and throughout the whole movie, it's in the sofa behind them and some of the books, the bookcase. It kind of makes you think of blood.
And I hadn't noticed this before, but in the beginning, in the cab, the seats were the brightest red.
Yeah.
And there's a red chair.
And the books behind him, yeah.
And
he's sitting back in it. Yeah.
He's got blood in his hands.
He's kind of creepy in his own way. I mean, you don't know anything about him. He's kind of left ambiguous. Go ahead.
Well, I think there's American stories are all about individualism, and for me personally, those are the kinds of stories that appeal to me and excite me and move me, and that's why I think this is such a great story. One of the many reasons why it's such a great story is, it's not really I mean the CIA, they're on the right side, but I mean, Roger Thornhill goes against them at the end and goes off and does things on his own, and the whole plan to let Van Damme go back so they can find out more about his organization, that doesn't work out.
Yeah.
The whole CIA plan gets blown. So I kind of like it's not a message of do whatever you can for your country. It's it's a more personal journey.
Yeah.
And he was right, because they were going to throw her out of a plane, so it's I think it's a message of you should follow your heart.
Yeah.
You should think about that, because that you do that, maybe that's going to bring about the greatest good.
I know. I think so too. And it kind of isn't a movie about trusting authority figures. I mean, in that scene in the boardroom, they're just kind of sitting around, and they just kind of seem pretty lame. They're not going to do anything to help them. They're not clever enough to figure out what to do.
They're also not cool.
They're just not cool. Yeah, they're kind of
they look
older,
like
sort of stuffed shirts. Yeah, they're not.
Manhunt for you and kill.
It's so subtle. Oh, again, pop of red with the red cap there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I love. You know, it wouldn't be as much fun if he didn't have a totally useless disguise.
I know. I love how he's such an amateur.
Yeah.
That at this stuff, such a rookie that all his disguise was Ray-Bans.
Something wrong with your eyes, mister.
They're sensitive to questions. He's also so, like, upper class that, like, a pair of Ray-Bans was his disguise.
Oh my god.
You can't, like, I don't know, it's funny.
You know, I always thought, like, did he never think to, like, I mean, his hair's a little longer on top. Did he ever think to, like, mess it up, you know?
That would not, he would never mess up his hair. I mean, it's better to be dead than have messed up hair, I'm guessing. I like how the photograph is, like, just so clearly him, too.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, it's not doing any good, the disguise. This guy's lame, too, with his little short tie.
Yeah, and this guy is so, like, ingratiating and
yeah,
smarmy. Like,
grating to the ear.
I love, too, the surprise that, like, oh, he was smart enough to know.
Yeah, because you kind of think he's pretty dumb since he came for the Ray-Bans as his disguise.
Yeah.
Just seeing some friends off.
And now we get to the train.
Train.
You know,
Same color as his suit.
Yeah,
Love
again, you know, like you said, faded colors, matching colors.
Yeah, those pops of red. Yeah.
I just love how much of this movie stays on the train.
Yeah, and a train is such a good device for a movie. Like,
yeah.
So many places to hide and.
Yeah.
It looks really claustrophobic, like right here.
Even Marie Saint.
Her hair, it's so perfect.
Yeah.
It's like all one piece. Yeah, she's really great in this.
She's so great. You know, like, I mean, obviously, in general, I like Grace Kelly better than Marie Saint.
Yeah.
She's Grace flipping Kelly. But I actually think even Marie Saint in this role, I think that's my favorite Hitchcock woman.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I mean, she plays the character so beautifully, and I mean, she's fun, she's, you know, a little bit of a femme fatale, you know, but
yeah.
I love the strength and the vulnerability, you know, she's in an extraordinary situation where she has to make hard choices.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's this. I mean, she has to send the guy she loves, she thinks, to his death.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
And I like that she's so intent too. And this is kind of strange for a movie at the time. Like, she really wants to be taken seriously, and
yeah.
she seems like a very serious person. I mean, you do take her seriously.
Yeah.
And she sort of does all this so she has something to do that's not just, you know, dull and insipid, I guess.
Right. And in a way, like, I mean, this is her adventure.
Yeah.
She's the real secret agent.
She's the one who sort of set all this in motion. Like, you don't know it at this point. But.
Cary Grant is just, you know, sort of the schmuck who leads us, you know, into
and
that world, you know.
She's kind of the one, like, who has all the cards. I mean, if that's the right expression. And she's sort of controlling the whole thing. To a certain point.
Yeah, yeah.
And at this point in the movie, she is. And she's just right there at the table, and she called him over.
Well, luck had nothing to do with it.
I like this scene a lot.
I like it too. Wow, it looks like they're going by water, maybe, or something? Like a river?
Actually, it works pretty well, though. You don't even think about it.
So, you know, of course, we're about to come up on the moment at the end of the conversation where the train stops.
Yeah.
I love that you just, you don't see outside the train, you just see, like, things slowly come to a stop outside the window.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I like her outfit too. Like it's a nice contrast with his. It's
Yeah.
more slick. She's wearing the black suit, and it kind of he's wearing gray, and it kind of just makes her like a little cooler than him in a way.
Yeah. Well, and she those pinkish curtains or whatever they are there. Like the black makes her like stand out more. Like,
Yeah, she really pops, and with her hair too.
Yeah. Now, do you think there are like any individual hairs in there, or is that just like one like sort of like mole like?
Well, both of them. The hair is just so,
yeah, his too actually. Yeah. Oh, he took off the Ray-Bans. That's really living on the edge. No, I like the even in the middle of running for his life, he still stops to flirt with her.
He still stops to flirt. Well, he knows it won't take long.
Yeah.
He's so charming.
I was watching a video about it was about the J.J. Abrams Star Wars movie. They're talking about like everyone in that movie they're searching for a droid and they're all obsessed with the droid, and they were saying like that's kind of boring. Like and they're talking about in the first one how a lot of the first one is driven by love. Luke wants to rescue the princess. Like, he sees this hologram. She's beautiful.
She's beautiful.
And it's like I see like I think like it's like had for North by Northwest, had this movie been all about stealing back the little thingy full of the microfilm, it just there wouldn't have been a movie.
Yeah.
But because there's a romance, it's like there's something measurable at stake.
Yeah.
And I think when she betrays him, it's so great because his anger feels very real and tragic, but then it's like she is relieved that he's alive, but maybe has to pretend she didn't send him out there. There's so much going on. It's
so much going on.
It's for a movie about people who are so cool. It's all very hot-blooded.
It's all very hot-blooded. Yeah, it's true.
Oh, but I love how they were showing her in profile there.
Yeah, I love her in profile. And this is a great shot, too. You just see his hand.
That's brilliant.
And then he pulls it away, and then she pulls it back to blow it out. It's just great. He's such a good visual storyteller. It's not just the dialogue.
Yeah.
It's just really dynamic images, and really, I think, great use of the close-up, too.
You're so right, because what a great way to, show that, they're becoming more intimate by, show them physically touching.
Yeah, just in this kind of subtle way.
Yeah.
And you can tell, that he had a background in they started out doing silent movies, I think. So
really, that is so cool.
See that? He does tell the story so many times without words.
I think, probably every director should, ideally train doing silent stuff.
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
Because it's otherwise, how can you understand the language of film?
Yeah, because it's so much more than words, obviously.
Yeah. Oh! I didn't even realize you can see the police car.
Oh, you can just and
you
can see them behind him, not behind her, so you can feel the impending sort of doom for him.
Wow. And she's still against the ugly pinkish drapes.
Ugly pinkish drapes. Yeah. I think the train is such a great advice too. It's such a lovely idea that he's forced to, of just dropping everything and getting on a train and having a romance.
Yeah,
it's just such a great device in so many movies. I don't think it works as well in any others than in this one, but it's just such kind of a nice thought of just dropping everything.
Yeah. Let's face it looks fun.
Yeah. I love this shot of her laying down. It's just so minimal. But it's really beautiful, I think.
I never noticed that shot until today, but it's it's like a painting
It's like
or
a
something,
painting,
you
yeah.
know?
It's
Like,
just kind of framed oftentimes.
and the lines of her clothing are so like neat and smooth. Like
Yeah.
she just looks very, and she's lying so still. Like it's very beautiful to look at. Which, and it's like, I mean, it's cool, and it's also like a great illustration of her character because she has to like look like she's in control. She has to be unflappable because if she didn't play things so close to the chest, she could be in serious trouble.
I know. I mean, we talked about playing a part before, but she's definitely, her character is playing a character. I mean, it's all acting at this point in the movie. She hasn't really let go, and she isn't really herself.
No, yeah, it's true. We don't really know her yet.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
And I think later on, her costumes and appearance, like, they look a little more colorful, and they're not as composed as they are here.
She wears a red dress, I think, during the auction, right?
Yeah, she wears a red dress, and then she wears the orange outfit later on, so...
Oh, the orange is Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even the scenery going past behind her is not too... it's pretty minimal. It's kind of controlled.
I was actually just thinking about that. Like, it looks a lot darker outside the window, like the sun's going down.
Yeah.
But
it kind of goes with the colors they picked to
put
around her.
Gosh, it's a kind of, everything outside the window looks like it's shot like through like some kind of like amber filter.
Yeah, it does, doesn't.
Actually, kind of like the couch or whatever that is she's lying on.
Definitely. I don't know how he fit there, but
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
his Ray-Bans.
The sky. What a bummer.
Oh, he got a weird look at us.
And now it's like full night.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny, like, the first time I saw this, I don't think I ever suspected that anything was up. Like,
no, you don't really.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it just seems like, until, she sends that note, like, what should I do with him in the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just seems like, well, she just likes him because he's, really cool,
Because he's Cary Grant.
And then it's only later that you think, like, oh, yeah, that doesn't quite wash.
Something's up. Yeah. And this love scene is so, creepy, too. Like, the way she's kind of grabbing his neck creepily, and it's just sort of like a cat toying with the mouth. And the hands are very emphasized.
It's interesting. His hands are down lower, and
and then I think you later see his hands on her hair, and it's kind of creepy looking. Oh yeah, there, he's kind of reaching out in a sort of creepy way.
I've really
it's kind of disturbing.
I've really come to think that this scene is really kind of dirty.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm a big girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just feels naughty for some reason.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know a lot happens, and yet, And the funny thing is, I feel that, even though she is toying with him in this scene, I feel like she's still, enjoying him at the same time.
Yeah, I think she's having a good time.
Yeah, I feel like that's, that she's actually, she's acting, but it's almost like method acting. I think she really is attracted to him, and she's using that.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, look, her hair's out of place.
Her hair's out of place. And the funny thing is, she really, I think, or I don't know if she still uses it now, but she did go, she was a method actor at one
She
point.
Was?
Yeah.
Was she okay?
Yeah.
Oh, well, of course, because she wasn't on the waterfront her first role.
Yeah, and I think she did go through the actor's studio, so I don't know if she was still using the method at this point, but maybe she was. I mean, it wouldn't be hard to, though, wouldn't be hard to like find Cary Grant attractive.
No, I'm sure you become like a method actor maybe naturally.
Yeah, maybe naturally in that situation. Another weird shot of hands.
Oh, wow.
He just sort of goes to hide in the little bathroom. Shit's really big for a train compartment.
Yeah, I know. I want a train compartment like that.
Do those exist? I don't know.
So doesn't she give him the note now?
Oh, yeah, she does.
So maybe she does it because she does it like in here. Isn't he gonna pick up the razor in a sec?
Yeah. What makes little sense to me is why does a woman need a smaller razor for traveling than a man? I mean, she's got more to shave.
That's true.
She's got to shave
That's
her
true.
legs,
Yeah,
etc. I mean,
yeah.
it's like he's got way less to shave, actually.
And also, he never looks unshaven.
Yeah, so he must be and he's got dark hair. He must be shaving like all day.
Okay, and then here's this is a really funny plot hole, I think. So so Van Damme just predicted that he was going to take this train.
Yeah.
Did he know because he knew Kaplan's itinerary?
But I don't.
But how could he know the exact train? Like.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's necessarily. I don't think he's following Kaplan's itinerary. I think he thinks Kaplan was like had already left or something.
Oh yeah.
And he's following him, so it really makes even less sense.
It makes no sense.
How would? Yeah, and he just got on the train so like spontaneously. It's like he didn't even intend to really. He just sort of felt like he had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even recently it was already on the train.
Yeah.
Unless they were like, oh, go. He got on that one. But, like, Kaplan's on the train, too, like they show here. So, it's a lot of plot holes.
You know, it's a testament to how seductive and clever the storytelling is that I didn't think about any of this until today.
I never thought about it either, really.
And now it seems like, like...
Of course.
Yeah.
Why did we think of that? Yeah. Well, it's so great. I feel like in Hitchcock movies, he's encouraging you to not worry about the little details. Like, it doesn't really matter what government secrets they've stolen. They're just government secrets. That's all you need to know.
I know, yeah.
That's, it's not, you don't have to worry about it too much.
And I do like, I like to talk about plot holes because I think it's fun, but
it's funny.
But I do think that like some people get too hung up.
Yeah,
some of the stuff
kind of ruins it.
Yeah, like my thing I love to whine about right now is everyone's complaining about like the ending of the Florida Project.
Oh yeah.
And spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it yet, but two characters run like really far, and they like apparently like if like Orlando, Florida, like the distance makes no sense.
Oh yeah.
It's like I don't really care. Like it's like
yeah.
It was if it's a dramatic moment, if it hooks me, that's all I care about. It's like with that movie Bigger Than the Sky.
Yeah.
And it's as Portlanders we know that like where he's driving makes no sense and all, but it's like it kind of works in the context of that movie.
That's true. Like any movie shot on location, if you know the location, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They just can't shoot a movie like. I mean, they have to pick where they want it to go.
Absolutely.
You can't shoot it like you would normally.
This is a really long shot.
It's a really long shot.
It's very good. It's
very good, yeah. And you do kind of enjoy it, I think. It kind of, the tension sort of builds.
Yeah, yeah.
And she kind of looks backwards, and then you see the two of them. I like how Cary Grant doesn't notice them.
And she looked right over at them.
She looked right over at them, yeah.
Yeah, he's all starstruck.
This poor old guy got his... At least he's wearing that serious underwear there. I mean, he's practically got an outfit on.
Gosh, they kind of linger on him. Oh, did Cary Grant give him money?
Maybe even Maurice Saint did.
Oh,
Cary Grant doesn't seem savvy enough to give him money.
No, yeah, I think he's just kind of bopping along.
And this is another great one, like the pops of red from their hats.
Yeah.
I like how no one notices. It was clearly him.
He's always like
shaving.
Yeah, that's a really like just kind of exciting device, like turning around all the different red caps, like whoosh, 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 one by
Suddenly
one.
they're everywhere.
Yeah, it's like wow, it's exciting.
It's really exciting.
That other guy can raise his eyebrow really high.
Yeah, really.
Oh, this is so brilliant.
Yeah, this is so brilliant.
I mean, just like you don't even know that she's talking to him. You don't need to know. And then just like pulling the camera all the way down to the end, there he is.
And there he is, yeah. And you just kind of, you do know.
Yeah.
Like, okay. That was kind of a nice shot there.
Yeah. That was all, that must have been all one shot.
Yeah, definitely.
I think longer shots are a lot more effective at building tension. Because you get a sense of where everything is, and I think like the more you know where everything is, like the more frightening things are, because the more real the landscape is and the threat.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh gosh, and we're starting to see her lose her cool.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit, yeah.
Big face, small razor. He put a lot of faith in her,
I know, he put too much faith in her.
Yeah, he was really easy to lose astray.
That's the sad thing.
This lady I just met yesterday is telling me to take a bus to the middle of nowhere.
I know. Oh, I'll do it. He's such an innocent, really.
I know. Yeah, he's very childlike. Well, it fits with what you were saying about like, he's breaking away from his mother.
Yeah.
It's like he's a kid who just like left for college.
He's a kid he is. There's something childlike about him, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
And it's so funny that, well, I mean, she would go ahead and do this. I mean, she already likes him, I think, but she's going to send him to his death anyways.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to lose, like, her, I don't know, position, kind of.
That's really dark.
It's pretty dark. I mean, it means a lot to her, I think, doing something that actually matters. But, yeah, not as much as he does, I guess.
Gives a new meaning to the phrase, putting career before relationship.
Yeah, really. Well, the women in Hitchcock movies are always really dramatic and kind of just over the top.
Yeah.
Not realistic.
Yeah.
But they're not supposed to be.
No, yeah, I mean, like, they're all like in very, they're all kind of like these extraordinary, larger than life characters, like, Ingrid Bergman's a double agent, notorious, and a Rear Window, he can't just have like just some normal girlfriend, like she has to be like a socialite, is she like a fashion designer or something?
I think she works in fashion, but yeah.
Okay, because I felt like she was
socialite / fashion worker lady. Don't know, but she's also like willing to break into an apartment at the drop of a hat and like dig up the guy's garden. I mean, she's up for anything, really.
These people have no respect for the rule of law.
Yeah, no, not really.
That's why they're so charming.
That is why they're charming. I like how it's called Prairie Stop.
Prairie
it's
Stop.
Just like So, yeah, I mean, it's
That
a
don't look like no
prairie.
prairie.
Yeah.
It looks like a desert.
Yeah, it's very barren.
So, I mean, that great overhead shot of the bus pulling up.
Yeah.
Him just being a tiny dot.
Yeah.
The first shot of the plane. I mean, you have a real, like, sense of the space here.
Yeah.
And just how alone
yeah.
he is.
And everyone has had that feeling of being the only, like if you're walking out alone and
Yeah.
there aren't many people out, just feel like you're the only one alive.
Yeah.
And he's just totally isolated.
It reminds me of, like, when I've been biking at night.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
Just weird, disoriented. Yeah. He's kind of lost touch at this point.
I really like, too, the cars going past.
Yeah, no one's stopping for him.
And the idea that maybe with each car he wonders, should I try to flag them down?
Yeah, he's got that kind of look on his face. Should I?
Yeah. Yeah, the way he's kind of like pulling his hands out of the pockets.
Yeah.
Like, should I?
Maybe, nah. Yeah, it's really good. It just seems too like a really weird way to kill someone. I mean, don't you think you could have come up with a way more simple solution?
You know, I have to confess, I did like wonder like wouldn't it be easy to like, you know, like just like hide in the cornfield and like, you know, shoot him, you
yeah,
know?
or like in the city somewhere. I mean, it's just so dramatic.
It's like, you know, like did they think it would be like, you know, it seemed like an accident, you know, secret agent stumbles into crop dusting.
Yeah, really. I like this too. You saw the car from further away and then it pulls up and it's like he's kind of trying to connect with this guy. He like wants to be friends with him or something. Or, well, he thinks he's George Kaplan, but I don't know, they kind of have a weird moment of connection and the guy leaves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great shot.
You know,
standing on the sides of the road.
Yeah, and the two of them facing each other, it brings this sense of like momentousness to the moment.
Yeah,
like,
very dramatic.
Because he's thinking maybe this is it. Maybe this is Kaplan. Maybe I'm about to get my answers.
This is what I waited for. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and here we come to that great POV shot.
Great POV shot. Yeah, kind of scary in a way.
Yeah. And
again. Yeah.
See who needs VR.
Yeah.
This is VR. This puts you there, like on the side of that freaky road where it looks like you're gonna get killed.
It captures how in like a moment like that when you're nervous, it feels like it's lasting forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Like it's never gonna end. That plane's dusting crops where there ain't no crops.
It's so funny he doesn't notice that.
Yeah.
Oh no, you always wish he would get on the bus here. It's like, just get on.
I wonder who was in the plane.
Oh.
Like, which one of James Mason's stooges was flying that?
I feel like they say.
Yeah.
Because, I think they say later on. What a cool looking bus, too.
That's a really cool bus. Why can't buses look like that now?
I wish they did, yeah.
I would ride the bus more often.
That was the case, yeah.
Another reason I think this scene is so effective because it's so long.
Yeah, it is long. And they had this great build up, and he's waiting for a long time before he even talked to that guy. This is so great. Oh, the plane's coming in. Oh, wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
And it starts to dawn on him. But okay.
Wow, the camera gets so close to the ground.
Yeah.
You really feel like you're falling down there in the dirt with him.
Definitely, yeah.
And, it's like, he waits a long time to move. It's almost like a kind of thing of disbelief, like, no, this can't be happening.
Yeah, this can't be happening. Like, why would this happen?
This is
It's
too
like,
insane.
you don't expect it. Even the second time, he doesn't really.
I wonder if the plane is like trying to run him over, or...
I think they're trying to... The chemicals, too.
Yeah, because that's how they try to get him.
Oh, and he tries to get the car to stop. He should have tried harder.
That driver.
He's like, oh, well, that didn't work.
Oh, here we go, that
Here we
iconic shot.
Classic running away from the plane. He runs really cool, by the way.
He does.
Like, super elegant little runner there. I like how his leg flies.
Whoa!
It's like a little ballet move.
Oh, he sees the cornfield.
Yeah.
That's a great cut from his face to the cornfield. Like,
Yeah.
the idea takes shape in his head. Oh!
That's great.
Well, I guess that's a tracking shot, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. But it's hard to tell, though.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, yeah.
The scene is edited so well.
Yeah.
It's just really smooth. But complicated when you actually think about it. There's so much happening.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't normally think about it. I love the weird juxtaposition of him running in his elegant clothes and this like barren landscape, and it's just kind of strange, you know?
In a way, it makes him more vulnerable, I think.
Yeah, like he's not used to like running or doing anything difficult.
You're right. He's not prepared for this. Like,
yeah, anything physical, really. Yeah.
he's not a man of action.
No, he's not at all.
This swanky advertising guy who's used to taking cabs in New York and hanging out with his mother, who's the same age as him.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's really. I mean, he's really kind of vulnerable.
Oh,
he sees
the
truck.
Maybe that's why he's so great. I mean, he's not like a Jason Bourne. He's not prepared for this at all.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a special set of skills.
He does not have a special set of skills at all.
And
yeah,
I like
he does a few clever things.
Yeah.
I love this, there's so many. There's quite a few shots mixed in there.
Oh, wow. And it's so great that at this point, he's willing to get hit by the car. He's like, I have to do whatever I can to survive.
Yeah, and the first time there was a car going by, he wasn't. He didn't try hard enough.
Yeah.
It didn't get them to stop. And this time it's like, okay, I gotta get hit by this car.
I can't be complacent anymore. I've got to fight.
I think I always like movies where someone values their own life that much, you know? I mean, of course everyone should, probably. But just the sort of he really is trying to hold on to something. There's something kind of powerful about that.
I think that is powerful.
Even though his life isn't that great, he's still determined to survive somehow.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I mean, it's all about that awakening to a higher purpose and kind of in the beginning, the whole thing. He wants to send a telegram to his mother for some totally, as you quite rightly said, trivial reason. Or a telegram to his assistant, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, so he's very much upholding these kind of, rules of decorum and society. And then, to go to the point where, as we're going to see in a couple of scenes, he busts up that auction,
Yeah.
I mean, he throws off all the rules and regulations because he knows that, living is more important.
Yeah, and it's kind of like he was an insider in society, but didn't really serve him. I mean, it didn't protect him from being thrown into this horrible situation. And, the authorities aren't protecting him, so he kind of has to become an outsider to sort of get by.
Yeah.
And it's really satisfying to see him kind of start to do those outsider things.
Yeah,
it's a movie like this, especially since it's older now. I mean, you realize the rules are so silly. I mean, they're pointless.
I know. I mean, it's I think and it's interesting. I think one thing that almost all Americans have in common, of both political parties actually, is like we tend not to trust authority.
Yeah, we really don't trust the government. Like
we don't.
Whatever side you're on, like people are very mistrusting and don't feel like they really get much from the government. I think a lot of times.
Yeah. And this movie, is really kind of like born of that sentiment. And even though it's it's escapism, I think he doesn't trust the government for very good reasons in this.
I mean, they're not serving him. They're not helping him.
Yeah.
No one's there for him.
They were willing to let him die just because it was more convenient for them.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
they definitely were. Yeah, just so they didn't have to lift a finger.
That was really cool, by the way, how he, watches what floor she goes to and then says, she's in room 4 or something or other.
Yeah, he's very clever. He's trying to kind of get a set of skills. There's clever little things like that.
Whoa.
She's surprised to see him. Yeah, and her dress is great in this scene, too.
Oh, what a dress.
That red dress. Kind of makes her look sort of evil. And
you don't know what side she's going to fall down on because it's it's the color of blood,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's is it just, representing that she's changing because she was in black, now she's in red and black?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be. It just suits the scene really well.
It sure does.
Yeah,
man.
and it's got that great back to it, too.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, it's hard to say, what's real with her in this scene. I mean, is she actually happy to see him? Kind of, but she just seems sort of freaked out, too. Sort of, there's so much she's having to do at once.
Yeah.
And she has to sort of save face.
I think she's definitely playing a part to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also that moment when she says, want you to walk out here, and I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
I almost think, in a very real way, she's trying to protect him.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I also think, too, I get where he's coming from in this scene, because, of course, he's angry.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't be? At the same time, it frightens me a little, the way he's acting around her.
Yeah, he's kind of cruel.
Yeah, it's very kind of menacing and...
Yeah.
and... Yeah. I don't know what I thought the first time I saw this. I don't know if I thought at this point, oh, she's evil, she can't be trusted, but I don't know, I feel like there's a sense in this scene that she's vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's clearly, out of control.
Yeah.
And she's trying to deal with that. She's trying to, she's in this vulnerable position of, how do I get rid of this guy? Try this, it doesn't work. Try this, doesn't work. It's I'll make him take a shower while his suit's being sponged and pressed.
And she just tries everything, basically, to get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone can kind of relate to that. I mean, trying to get someone out of your hair, but it is menacing.
Again, another universal detail.
Yeah, and you sort of start to see that she's really alone. I mean, she's not surrounded by friends.
Yeah.
And she's kind of doesn't trust him and can't really, and then in the next scene, she's surrounded by enemies as well.
Yeah. Interesting that she faces the wall to tell him that she wants him to go.
Yeah, they kind of keep facing away from each other in the scene. When she went to go make a drink, and he can't see her face, but we can.
Yeah.
And then here, too.
I know that I think some people, kind of joke about shots like that, where both people are facing the camera.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to shoot. I actually think it's a really good technique, though. I mean,
I think so too.
I think it's a great way to kind of engage with both of them, see what they're feeling at the same time.
Yeah.
But show the distance between them.
Yeah, it kind of shows the disconnect. And usually when people are in a two-shot, like, it's showing, like, intimacy, but it's kind of a neat way of putting them in the same frame, but showing disconnect.
Yeah, yeah. You belong in the stockyards. I actually think he looks okay.
I mean, he still looks really good. You can't really do much.
What, there's like
that.
one stain, like on the shoulder of his jacket?
Yeah.
By the way, I like that shot of her putting the address in her purse, you know.
Oh, I like that too,
Kind
yeah.
of planting the seed of, you know, the paper is going to be important.
Mm-hmm. Again, a great way to tell the story visually.
Yeah, and you know, it actually reminds me of the elevator thing.
Yeah,
because
it does. Like this little detail, but you do notice it.
Yeah. I don't know if Hitchcock used storyboards.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I feel like there's, you know, there's a sense of that things are so well planned and yet not like fussy.
Mm-hmm.
I never feel like it's too well planned. I mean, because big boy.
Double entendre there.
How does a girl like you get to be a girl? Lucky. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's being kind of mean to her there.
He is.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, well, I just love that she says lucky, I guess.
Yeah, lucky, I guess.
I like that, you know, like she, you know, knows she's really cool.
Yeah, she's kind of unfazed to some extent. I mean, she's maybe been through worse.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, she is all the time, as you're soon to find
God,
out.
I mean, she's probably been sleeping with James Mason.
Ew, yeah.
That is so gross.
Unpleasant. And James Mason, like, made her sleep with Cary Grant, basically.
Ew.
You know, like, and she didn't know she was gonna like him.
Yeah.
It's like something she had to do.
What if he had, you know, looked like Leonard?
Ew.
Or something, you know?
Yeah, he could have been totally different.
She got really lucky that, you know, like he was,
Yeah.
you know, well.
Cary Grant, yeah.
That's an interesting detail there. She's looking at the photo. And I think she's kind of freaked out.
I think she is, because she realizes he knows more than she thought he did.
Yeah.
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 And he's getting closer, kind of, to her. On a side note, it's funny how long men's shirts were then. I mean, it's like really long. And the pants are so high-waisted. You're like, the shirt doesn't need to be that long. But they just really wanted it to stay tucked in, I guess.
You ever notice how, like men's shirts, like, they had that weird, like, part, like, in back, that, like, hangs down really far?
Yeah, what's the point, really?
I've always thought that was kind of strange.
Ooh, and that's such a creepy shot.
That is so Ew.
Ew, and scrubbing her neck really creepily. And you kind of get the feeling, too, I mean, he's at an auction, he's kind of stroking her, like, she's just another one of his possessions. I mean, the thought can't help but come into your mind.
You know, that is so true.
Like, he acquires things, and, you know, she's one of them. She's definitely an object.
Yeah. Because you think about, like, what does she do? You know, she just, like, hangs out with him. And
Yeah, she's probably actually being paid by the CIA, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah.
He
thinks she's just likes his boyish good looks.
Yeah, unfortunately not. It's kind of neat how Hitchcock will take you to places like probably most audiences didn't go, like an art auction or a Plaza Hotel. It's just kind of doing it like for fun, you know, just so you can see this world. And it's not like an aspirational thing, like you should try and be a part of this world too. It's just kind of for the fun, I think, of the audience.
Yeah, because I think like it's like I don't really like want to go to an auction like that, but I like seeing it.
It's fun seeing it. Yeah, it doesn't make you like wish you were one of the people there.
Is there almost like a little bit of like a class rage thing going on? That he comes into this swanky thing with all these presumably rich people and like you know busted up.
I think so. Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know. There's an edge there.
Definitely. Oh, he takes his hand off. Like, he's starting to not trust her anymore.
Yet,
She's like, oh no.
As you said, yet another good way of showing things visually, like just the gesture, the hand retreating from the shoulder, like he doesn't need to say, I don't trust her, and that would be the more theatrical way of doing things.
Yeah.
The gesture tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of as soon as he takes his hand off her, he starts bidding on this thing at the auction. So it's kind of like this transference thing.
It's sort of like, my car isn't working out,
Yeah.
I need to go on a shopping spree.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Oh yeah, he's talking about overplaying his various roles, again with the playing the roles.
Oh, yeah. I knew how the Fugitive. I find it funny, he says all this stuff, but all those roles, he really is, a fugitive, that's ridiculous. And it's like, but Van Damme is, such a slimeball that he maybe can't imagine that anyone feels anything genuinely. Yeah.
And the thing is, a person, in a way, it's realistic. I mean, you can feel that many things in a short amount of time.
You can, yeah, so, yeah.
But, yeah, Van Damme's so cold, he doesn't really...
Right.
Yeah.
Become part of a new schedule. I forgot about that. That was funny. I think she really is mad there.
I think she is too.
That seems like a slip. Like, I don't think she meant to do that.
Yeah, because then the camera goes to him and he's like, oh, something's up.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's at the auction.
And that's the first we see of her. It's kind of interesting that... Oh, sad, crying.
Oh, cry, he's sad.
I hope he's happy now. He made her cry.
He made her cry.
It's kind of interesting. It gets to the point where it's like, he's so desperate and, things are so serious that it's like, I'll just let myself be arrested for murder.
Yeah.
That's such a fascinating thing to get him to the point where there's nothing to lose, where it's like, I just want to live.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's in jail, yeah. There's something satisfying too of that, like, letting go. Like, he's just at the part where he'll do anything.
Yeah, that's how we get this incredible scene.
I like how he just shoved those ladies over to sit down. There was no room. And
he's sitting really close. That one lady's really keeping her composure.
Yeah, trying to.
Especially since his butt is probably right up against hers.
Yeah, really awkward.
Van Damme got Miss Kendall out of there.
Hustled her on out of there.
Again, like she was a
piece of meat.
Yeah.
Or an object.
I love this auctioneer guy. He's
great scene.
He's so like charming and happy. Well, the gentleman, please get into the spirit of things.
He's really trying. Yeah.
He's trying, but he's so like inadequate to the task.
Yeah, he's really not up to it. That chroma.
Oh my god.
And look at that, he's got weird two-tone hair. It's like black on top and grey on the sides.
With the auctioneer?
Yeah, look, it's really weird.
I gotta take a look at that. It
looks like tape.
I think Leonard's looking like, I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah, this wasn't in the manual. This wasn't in the training.
The thing where she says, "You're no fake, you're a genuinity." That's so good.
This is so good. I think too, this sort of like public disturbance here is just kind of a way for him to vent and like let his emotions out.
Yeah,
his frustration against society.
It's like he's been through so much. It's like you know what? I have an opportunity to wreak havoc, and I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have some fun.
And it's let's face it, who hasn't dreamed of doing this kind of thing? Like,
yeah, totally.
again, it's a very Hitchcock plays into these like kind of these fantasies, these very human things. Oh, and then seeing her making the call.
Yeah, I like how he's seeing her make the call, but he still keeps doing it because he's having fun.
Yeah, that's
true. He knows
true.
they're coming.
Yeah,
like,
he didn't necessarily need to, you know.
Yeah. He just looks around like, who said that? It's hilarious. Gentlemen, please cooperate.
The gentleman. I'm as good as anybody's.
$3,000.
Oh, that's so terrific.
Mm-hmm. I like how the police didn't automatically know he was the United Nations killer, even though his poster's like supposedly everywhere, and like he was trying to dodge the police before.
These Chicago police are not much brighter than the Glen Cove police.
Yeah, they're maybe a bit worse. Another weird shot
God.
just from the back of the head and the cab.
Yeah. Are you sure? So I love the reversal of expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like he has a goal. It's like, okay, just gonna let the police take me. And even that doesn't work. He's going along with it, and then nope. But then it reverses expectations, but it makes sense. Because like the situation has gotten out of control, where you believe that the spy guy's the professor, right?
Yeah.
You believe he would like step in and it's like oh no, this is a little bit messy, Mr. Thornhill.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. He's just thwarted at every turn, basically.
Yeah.
Gosh, airports must have been so cute back then.
God,
Just looks so cute and homey.
Can't they go back to being like that?
Yeah, really.
They're so cold and imperious now.
Yeah.
That just looks like a cute,
Little,
visitor center.
I know, a cute little visitor center. Yeah, it does. Looks so easy to hop on a plane.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's with the CIA, but look at the professor just grabbing his ticket there.
Where's the TSA to pat him down?
I know.
And, put a metal detector to his
I was
hat.
thinking that too. Yeah, he doesn't even have to take off his hat or shoes or anything. Well,
He just goes out.
He just go out, yeah.
Red again.
Red again, yeah. I like that. We're all in the same alphabet soup.
I never thought about that, but that's very clever. We don't know exactly what he is.
Yeah, we don't know what he is. I guess we thought he was CIA, but he doesn't say, does he?
I I had thought, I had always thought he was CIA, but then I guess we don't need to know.
Yeah,
you know?
we don't, do we?
All that really matters is that he's, some sort of law enforcement official, and that he's, a pragmatist, and therefore he's in a way kind of another foil for Roger Thornhill, because Roger Thornhill acts almost chiefly out of instinct.
Yeah, which is kind of what's great about him.
Yeah. We don't always think he's smart. We hardly ever think he's smart.
No,
but we like him better. We relate to him more.
Yeah, definitely more relatable. I like how they know what he does, but they supposedly don't know enough about him to capture him.
Yeah.
But it's all very vague. It's just sort of an importer-exporter. Like, what does that mean? Besides the obvious, I mean, you don't really know, do you?
Like you said earlier, the MacGuffin is really kind of meaningless.
Yeah, government secrets. It's just so silly.
And when you think about it, it's like, well, what we're here is for the characters and the suspense and kind of the big show-stopping set pieces, like the crop dusting. It's like, we're not, here for the MacGuffin. So
No.
I mean, why? I think a lot of movies kind of waste too much time on exposition, and then I think that I think that wears people out and makes them more confused.
Yeah, why make it so complicated?
Yeah, this is a very odd but I think effective choice here. They kind of have the plane muffle what they were saying.
Yeah, I like that too.
And it's funny, I again reminds me of On the Waterfront, and there's I think Marlon Brando's confessing to Eva Marie saying that he was involved with the death of her brother, or something, and I don't know, like a boat or some machinery drowns out their voices.
Oh, cool! I always like that, and it works really well here.
I like that too, because it's I don't know. We all love good dialogue, and gosh knows, Hitchcock had tons of great dialogue in his movies. But I mean, sometimes all you need is a feeling, and just kind of the sound of the plane revving up gets the feeling of things are taking off, but also he's getting more agitated and angry, and
kind of excitement happening.
Yeah.
And then weird close up.
Oh no, zoom in.
Oh no. Yeah. But he does feel bad because he was awfully mean.
Yeah.
And all for nothing.
He feels really bad.
Yeah, he does feel really bad. And he should.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what motivates him to go through this little charade at the end.
That's very clever. Kind of thinking you're looking at it, and it's like, oh, you're looking through the telescope.
Yeah.
I like the way it's there's almost a little bit of a bromance here.
Yeah, there is a bit,
He's telling me not to go with your heroin scheme.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. They're kind of wearing similar colors.
That's true, matching
Matching gray suits. Matchy gray.
It kind of smiles at that. Just thinking, a lot of sun in this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like the typical globe-trotting thing is to go through all different kinds of weather. and to have at least like one snow scene or something.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not even any rain.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like that, you know.
I like that too. I mean, they don't really need it, do they? I mean,
They don't.
Yeah.
I like it's very like crisp, wholesome, you know, cheerful American lighting.
Yeah, very. He's in the cafeteria. What's more American than that?
He's in the yeah. Only on very American locations. A cab, a cafeteria, a fancy house, a hotel room.
Yeah, everything is kind of vague about it. I mean, it's not. But I like that, don't you?
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. Not her. So dramatic.
It's interesting because now he really is playing a role.
Yeah, now he's playing it for real.
And he's pretty convincing. I mean, maybe like her, he is playing for something he feels, because he still was portrayed.
Yeah, I think so too.
And now you feel like, God, like, Van Damme's really stupid to fall
Yeah,
for this.
I know. I'm surprised Van Damme does.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder.
It's Leonard who sees through it all.
Yeah.
You know, I feel that this. I feel that a lot of the James Bond movies probably borrowed from this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about Van Damme and Leonard, and one of the things that's such a James Bond trope is to imply that the villain is gay.
Right,
You
yeah.
know? And it's kind of
such a trope.
yeah, and it's kind of like that's here. I mean, I don't know about Van Damme, but Leonard, they certainly strongly hint it's a thing, you know.
Yeah, that he's interested in Van Damme, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you do think about that a lot. I think I like that this movie. I mean, I love Bond movies, but this is more simple than a Bond movie. The plot's not complex, and it kind of just keeps it a little more essential and less locations.
It does,
but still really enjoyable and fun.
Absolutely. Sure. Like, I don't know. I just you know, I mean, well, I've been rewatching a lot of Bond movies lately, but I was struck by like Skyfall, just how convoluted it is, and how it's like it's sort of a redemption story, it's sort of an Oedipal story, it's, you know, sort of a post 9/11, post, you know, post, you know, kind of, you know, surveillance scandal story. It just kind of feels like a mishmash, and you know, I think.
Well, it seems like movies like this, but a little later, are a lot more angsty. Like the villain has this complicated, angsty rationale for doing what he does, and the victim or the hero, I guess, kind of has a complicated, angsty, you know, feelings about everything. But this isn't. Everyone's just very urbane and sophisticated, and they don't seem to have very complex reasons. I mean, you don't know why Van Damme is doing what he does. He's just supposed to be bad. It's not like he had a father who neglected him or anything. Who knows?
Well, two things, and this one related to this and one not.
Mm-hmm.
Not related to this. That quick shot of Leonard there was a great way to set up like his suspicion. But then going back to what you were saying, like you know, I think for me, like, growing up with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films, and every villain had to have a backstory, and like a sympathetic thing, and I really liked how those movies did that, and I think, but then as I watched more movies, I realized that you actually don't want to do that most of the time, and you actually probably shouldn't do it most of the time, because it, you know, at a certain point it becomes a stock thing, like where it's like, you know, if you don't really believe in it, you're not gonna pull it off, because, you know, in most cases, it's like, who cares if the villain had an unhappy childhood? There's still a villain. Like, I mean, it's just the same, like, you know, like anyone like behind like a mass shooting, you know, like, it's like, well, that's what people are going to remember them for. Not their unhappy childhood.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think you need to, like, explain Van Damme.
No, you don't, really.
He's callous, he's heartless, he treats his friends about as well as he treats his enemies,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a threat to be, overcome, and, this is a survival story, and I think it would diminish the story if the fight for survival if he wasn't just a very pure threat.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one shot when he had his hand on Eva Marie Saint's neck and her hair and everything, that just kind of said it all.
Yeah.
It's just about power, and he wants more.
Yeah. This is a really lovely scene, I think.
I think so, too, yeah.
Because it's the first scene where, in a way, they're meeting for the first time. They can finally be themselves.
They are. Yeah, no one's really acting for the most part.
Yeah.
And you kind of learn about her, and she's maybe kind of, before she started working for the CIA, whoever they are, she didn't really have anything to do and was kind of bored, perhaps.
Yeah.
No one took her seriously.
Which, I mean, you have to think, like, I mean, probably a lot of actresses in Hollywood have had feelings like that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, being, offered nothing but just kind of like bland
girlfriend roles.
Yeah,
and interestingly enough, Eva Marie Saint, you do take seriously, like, as an actress. And
you do.
Able to pull that off at a time when, actresses weren't taken very seriously. And I don't know, she just brings a certain weight to everything.
Yeah. And, I mean, it would have been so easy for this to just be the girlfriend part.
Yeah, she could have played it that way, I think.
Yeah.
She brings something to it.
And, I mean, certainly I think it helps that in the script it's like, well, she's a spy.
Yeah.
She's very capable at playing mind games. That helps. But, I mean, none of that would have had, like, weight, without, like, her charisma and her strength.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's kind of like, you first meet her, she's, like, just really sexy.
Yeah.
Like, the Brook Trout, like, several bargain tickets, and then it's, like, kind of, you start like that, and you peel back the layers, and, you eventually get to know her almost as well as you get to know him. And
yeah, definitely.
nice of the professor
Yeah.
not to tell them
Yeah,
that.
the professor in a way is like as unfeeling as Van Damme, and he's not really acting.
Yeah.
With emotions. You kind of end up not liking him very much.
Yeah.
It's like, I needed your help. I had to lie to you.
Wow.
Very cold.
It is very cold.
It's nice, too, having them be in nature. Like, just having the trees, it's a nice little framing device. It kind of puts them between the two trees, like each of them. You can kind of see they're, like, in a tight place.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. I kind of like, too, like, the idea that, like, in this moment, they sort of step outside the big conflict, and so they get this kind of this moment of peace, and, or better to have that than in a forest.
Yeah, totally.
Well, and like you said, the United Nations building is
Yeah.
very cold and impersonal.
It's like the opposite of that. Even the train is kind of cold and impersonal, very institutional.
Yeah.
This hospital here looks very institutional.
Yeah, that looks horrible.
It looks really horrible. It looks like a mental hospital.
And even, like, Prairie Stop, like, I think is, like, kind of this, like, bleak, place, like, stripped of life, and
Yeah, definitely.
And then, but then, you know, the trees there, it's this lush, you know, verdant world, and, you know, it's where they get to, like, have their first chat where they're not holding anything back. And it's the calm before the storm in the form of the crazy Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, the crazy climax.
Oh my gosh.
You know, he's probably mad in the scene that someone else picked out his clothes for him.
Oh, he is
He's
probably
like,
so pissed.
no, I never wear clothes that aren't perfect.
God, he's combing his hair even though every hair is in place.
Yeah, he really
What
doesn't
is he
need
combing?
to.
And what is that around his neck?
He's
Is
got
some
like a
kind of
little
necklace?
gold necklace chain thing.
Wow, nice shadow the professor's got going on.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very noirish.
Yeah, look at that. It's a really good shadow. And you can't really see his eyes. They're like lights kind of reflected in his glasses.
Oh, I didn't see that. I gotta take a look at that. You're right.
It makes him kind of impersonal and kind of creepy.
He's very institutional.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's very by the book.
Of course he would choose this hospital.
Yeah, of course he would. The doll hospital.
I like how Roger Thornhill's like really overplaying it in this scene. Like, I'm a golf operator, you know.
Yeah, he really is.
But I believe that he would do that because he's a lot wiser now, but he's still not, you know, schooled in these subtleties.
Yeah, he doesn't know. I always think when he goes to put his shoes, like, his shoes look so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, so stiff, and he's going to have to, like, run around in them. Ugh.
I think it makes it, like, more exciting that, like, you know, as we're about to see in the big climax, he's in this, you know, really not ideal outfit, you know. She's in high heels, for God's sake.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, you know, it's very rare to find, like, movies that, you know, like feel like, you know, like really tactile.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I feel like at the end, like, you know, like I feel like my hand is like on pebbles, you know, with his hand on the rock, you know, and
yeah, you really feel it.
Yeah.
It's funny too how like his shirt, it doesn't look like it fits him as well as the other clothes. It does look like someone else picked it out. It still looks nice. But
right.
Yeah.
That's true. That is.
Oh, I love this little bit. So funny.
That's kind of like the lucky I guess line.
Yeah.
That's another one of those, you know, nice self-aware moments. It's like
Give yourself aware.
Yeah, we're watching a movie, you know, about movie stars.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny the taxi goes up this way.
Yeah, really, between all these trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of taxis in this movie, lots of cars and getting in and out different cars. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. It's almost like a screwball comedy.
Yeah.
Movie. Like, you know, like door slamming or a little bit.
When you could kind of say this movie's a road movie. I mean, that would be stretching it a bit, but it has
I see what you mean.
a little bit of that element, the traveling, lots of different forms of transportation being important to the plot.
Yeah, because even though we traditionally think of a road movie as like, you know, two people in a car the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, like, well, this is the format of a road movie. You start in one place, you know, you go to a bunch of different places. You're constantly in motion.
Yeah, definitely. And the feeling of kind of like isolation and disorientation.
Remember Wes Anderson said that, you know, it helped him, you know, to set his movies on something that was physically moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
Like the submarine and the Life Aquatic and the train and the Darjeeling Limited and in some ways I think I don't think those are necessarily road movies, but they share a lot of DNA with road movies.
Yeah, I think the Darjeeling Limited is kind of a road movie.
Yeah.
Kind of has the feeling of one.
And this is as well because, you know, again, you know, like you said, a lot of, you know, time in cars.
Yeah.
A lot of, I mean, you know, well, they're on the train for, I mean, practically a whole act of the film.
Yeah. Well, I love this. Like you said, kind of
shot.
tactile. You sort of feel that.
Yeah,
Maybe
you really see his hands on there. Yeah,
I think it's
that's
such a
cool.
close up. I think.
Yeah,
This whole terrain is so rocky, like even the walls there, like the outside of the house.
That's so true. I never thought about those walls, but like the kind of, and the rocks don't even all fit together. It's all like jagged and and menacing. All shades of rear window.
Yeah,
Spine
definitely.
through glass.
Yeah, looking through. It's kind of neat having that like rear window looking in the dollhouse sort of feeling, not being able to hear what they're saying there.
Yeah, that's a good description. Looking in the dollhouse. Yeah.
Another nice shadow there.
Oh
Ooh,
god,
that's a good shot.
I love that because it's like you just the way, kind of like with the shot of the wheel hanging off the cliff at the beginning. You just instantly like see how frightening it would be to climb out this thing because you can't see the ground. It's like it's extending into nothing.
Yeah, and as we kind of already know, I mean, he's not like an action hero. He's just an ad man.
No.
He's having to do something incredibly physical.
Van Damme is really easily convinced, really easily duped.
Yeah, I know, because at this point I think he does actually believe her.
I think you're right.
I think he wants to.
And I think in his own twisted way he must at least have some affection for her, that he would be that quick to like believe that whole thing.
Yeah, I think he actually kind of does.
He bought that really fake looking ball. He bought, the professor like, look, blood.
Yeah, really. I know, yeah. He wiping his hands.
I love that though, that's funny. And then there's a weird sunshine.
Yeah, it's very strange. Yeah, and they're kind of having their little moment together in the scene.
Yeah. One of my, if not my first film textbooks, had a lot to say about the whole conversation between Leonard and Van Damme.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at the shot where, this is best disposed of over water, or the camera's going up. And you see the gun first. That's very cool.
Yeah, it's great. And Cary Grant sees it, and he knows. It's great when, like, as the audience, you get to know more than some of the characters do.
It's like nice. I can't remember, but someone said that thing about, you can show the bottom of the table ticking if you can have it go off and be a surprise.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of showing under the table ticking in this movie.
Definitely, yeah. But it works, I think.
Yeah. I think it's good. I think, also it's like, really this scene is from Cary Grant's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're true to his point of view, we should see the gun.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it's not, we're not seeing this through Van Damme's eyes.
No, definitely.
If we were, we'd been like, dude, you shot me?
You shot me.
I'm very touched.
That doesn't look like a real gun anyways.
No. Now we get in a little closer.
Yeah, definitely. You're kind of more in the room with them.
I suppose you kind of have to at that point, because it's like, this big revelation. You want to see how it affects them.
Yeah, definitely. I think Hitchcock uses that shot a lot of, like, the fists coming towards the camera.
That's true.
So you did it with the park ranger. Like
the park ranger. I gotta say, it's an effective trope.
It is.
I mean,
yeah.
it kind of freaks me out each time.
Yeah, you do kind of feel it.
I love that. Yes, we wondered what that was too.
Yeah, I know. It's so cool.
Just fired a gun.
Yeah, really. Yes, we wondered what that was too. And more like vertical lines in this scene as well. It kind of makes you think of
Whoa.
like the forest. There's kind of a sense of being trapped, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like a prison. Well, I guess it's a prison for her.
Yeah, and for them too, in a way. I mean, they can't change their ways.
That's true. I
Yeah.
mean, they are what they are, which is, I mean, makes them, the opposite of, Thornhill, who has sort of the opportunity to remake himself.
Yeah, I know. I think through all of this, he does kind of remake himself.
Yeah.
I like how the house gives him lots of opportunities to like climb
Yeah, that's
all over.
true.
Like everything is in all the layers of it are kind of textured and kind of works out well.
Lots of good footholds.
Yeah, lots of good footholds.
Oh, and then she walks out just as he's getting there.
Another thing of you seeing it and then, but they don't. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know more than the characters do.
You have a real sense of like how he's moving across the house. Like if he climbs up somewhere, you really see like what he needs to grab.
Yeah, what he's
climb it.
doing. Ooh,
Oh,
and that shot
God.
there.
That's so great.
And this is great. Everything flows so well in this last bit.
Yeah.
Like you see the handkerchief with the motto, and you kind of go, "Oh, she knows the motto already."
The idea. And the brilliant thing is like like it's all these details, it's all these things that have to happen to move the plot forward. But it doesn't feel fussy. It feels very logical.
Yeah.
And of course she would know the motto because, of course she would want to smoke a cigarette over lunch.
Yeah.
And of course like he would have rot on his matches because he's that kind of guy. He wants everything just so. Like
Yeah, he is. Yeah, exactly.
all this fits in with who these people are.
Yeah, I like how you kind of think, why is he telling her this at the lunch thing? And
Right.
but it doesn't stand out that much. But then at the end, it really kind of all makes sense and
Well, and I
goes
like,
together well.
and it's kind of fun the idea that oh, there was a point to that.
Yeah.
That meant something. It's paying off.
Yeah, and it's funny how she says Roger O. Thornhill. What does the O stand for? And he says nothing. I mean, he just made it up.
Yeah.
It's nothingness, and yet it kind of means something by the end. So sort of like his life in general was maybe nothing and just silly, but now it's kind of amounting to something.
Totally.
He's really lucky she notices this.
Well, Leonard picks it up, doesn't
picks
he?
it up. I hadn't thought about that.
In spirit.
In spirit.
That's really creepy.
That's very creepy.
I like how. I mean, again, we get into the topic of point of view because we every shot in this scene is his point of view.
Yeah.
We never get down and see their faces, and we see her face now, but it's from his point of view.
Point of view. And I love that how it's showing her from the back, and you can tell it just stays on her. It's a pretty long shot, really, and you can see her kind of like, oh my god, there it is. Should I take it? Should I? And she does, and then she kind of reads it, and then she snaps it like, uh-oh.
What a great reminder that faces are so important, obviously, but you don't need to see an actor's face.
No, you don't.
For them to communicate.
At least not in the movie.
They know what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, they say that in the theater, you're supposed to turn your back to the audience. But,
yeah.
I mean, in the movie you can. That's nice.
Oh, that was so...
Does he have a car now? Is the cab still there?
I thought the cab left.
I think the cab left. Plot hole.
So is he lying to, make her get out of there?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever you do, don't get on my plane. I like how he, figures out the thing about the microfilm, and it's he was just kind of, clambering around.
I know, he just found it out by accident. They're kind of working together. It would have been nice, though, if she'd been able to find that out, considering she's the one who's been hanging out with them forever.
I know. I kind of feel bad. It's he's stealing her thunder a little bit.
Yeah, he kind of is, isn't he? Yeah, she kind of gives it a look. You can see that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the guy who died in the plane must have been the sort of balding guy. He had, darker hair.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
must have
yeah,
been
because
the
we
one.
don't see him around.
Yeah, you don't ever think about it, but yeah, he just sort of disappeared.
Hey, we haven't seen the gardener since the auction.
I think he's around a little bit.
Oh, did we see him in here?
Just vaguely,
Okay.
not much at all.
Well, they gotta catch him then.
Yeah, they gotta catch him.
Oh, this thing. This TV thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's just ingenious.
I know, isn't it, though?
Because it's like, I mean...
Oh, it's so good.
Because we're all familiar with that.
Yeah.
You know, we've all, like, you know, had the TV off and seen some weird reflection in it.
Totally. And thought, oh, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then to
Yeah.
take that and make it like a suspenseful device, and then again, he doesn't know.
He doesn't know, yeah. And I like how this lady is the one who sees him.
Yeah.
She's not very threatening, is she?
Yeah, she's the one that's... Yeah, Van Damme couldn't find him, Leonard couldn't find
Yeah,
him.
I mean, she couldn't really look more ordinary. And again, he's kind of just clutching her, like he's really grabbed her wrist.
Yeah.
There.
God, and just these close-ups of her and, like, seeing, like,
Yeah.
what do I do? Like...
Yeah, what's the right thing to do anymore? It's not
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, she has a plan, but, I mean, she's not going to be able to fulfill it. But it's like,
No,
I
yeah.
mean, these two, you know, scary guys are right there. Like, you know, what does she do? Like, it's...
Yeah.
I think she's making it up as she goes along at this point. Whereas before she had to kind of, like, do everything sort of note by note.
Oh, I like this. He said, say goodbye to my sister. Thank her for her performance as Mrs. Townsend.
Yeah,
we
well,
finally know who that was.
I know, it's great how they tie that up, you know, because it's like,
Yeah.
you wonder, and... Oh, there's that guy.
There he is. Oh, and she can't do it.
That's great how that's the distraction.
And she grabs the weird thing.
Hey, there was a car waiting.
Oh, okay. Maybe he
I
just
gotta
stole.
figure that out. Yeah, maybe he
I
stole
think
it,
he
yeah.
just took one of their cars.
If this was a movie now, he would just drive through the door.
Right, yeah.
I like it that he actually stops to unlock it.
Oh, he doesn't even... Yeah, nowadays he would just... Or just like drive through
Oh.
the forest or something.
Oh, they end up just having to run. I forgot.
Oh, yeah, they just run.
Oh,
I'm
again
back-
with the forest.
Back in the forest.
Yeah, just leave that.
Yeah, just leave that. It's probably really expensive, but whatever.
Whatever.
Her costume's like in this scene so cumbersome. Like she's got the little lady shoes, the little lady purse.
Yeah.
And they just happen to be on top of Mount Rushmore.
We're on top of the mountain even.
They were so close to it. Kind of weird. Why would you have a vacation home that close to it?
I know that does. Whoa! Oh
that's a
gosh,
great shot.
you really feel how high they are.
Yeah.
It's just nothing in sight. That's so beautiful.
I know. That's so good. We'll climb down. That's the worst idea ever.
That's terrible. I mean, it's like there's probably no way you could do that.
Yeah, how could you? In heels, too. I'm always curious. I'm not quite sure how they filmed this. Obviously, a lot of it's in the studio, but like that, was that on location? That shot just before?
Because at least some of it was on location,
I
right?
think it must have been, right? I mean, you couldn't build all that, could you?
Yeah. This whole thing is just so insanely outlandish.
Yeah, but
But
it's great.
It is. I mean, it is just the absolute right way to end this movie.
I
Like
know.
they build up to the craziest, most extreme, most frightening thing you can imagine, like rocks, heights, bunch of creepy dudes climbing after them.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of like American values, sort of, to use a pun, turned on their head. I mean, they're crawling all over like these American heroes. It's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of,
true. Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of makes them. It's interesting. I think there was one thing when they were shooting this and she actually fell, and that might be
She
it.
did?
But I'm
Oh
not
my
sure.
God.
And she hurt herself.
That's terrible.
Yeah, poor thing.
I know. I mean, it was probably hard to do in those damn shoes.
Oh, and those little gloves.
Yeah, the gloves. She's climbing in those gloves. I didn't even think of that.
That's nice though. She can protect her hands. I think I'd leave my coat on if I were her.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably really cold.
Probably really cold. Yeah.
Oh gosh, and we can see the distance between.
Yeah, we know
George
they're
Washington's
both.
right behind them. I think that's George Washington. I don't know.
I think that's George Washington. Honestly, they're not that clear.
These old founding father types all look vaguely similar.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
They have strange wigs. Wow, that's crazy.
I like how his camera or something falls, whatever that was. Just kind of dangling. Ooh, ouch.
Which is that? That's not Leonard, is it?
I think it is.
It is Leonard.
Ow, that's gotta hurt.
I like in a way it's like it's everybody's fighting to survive now.
Yeah, I love that. They're not even. They're just. Yeah, that's so great.
The obstacle is this big, giant, massive thing that's half nature, half man-made.
Yeah.
And it's their lives are all equally in danger.
Such a nice kind of slow scene too. Like it just kind
Yeah.
of unfolds slowly. It's not like a crazy chase.
Yeah. It takes its time.
Yeah. Probably when you think about it, like Mount Rushmore is such a weird thing anyways.
Yeah.
It's like an odd thing to build.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, why would you... I mean, it's kind of a strange idea.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when you see this, you know it's happening.
That's so well done.
Yeah, before they know.
Well, he waits a long time to
Yeah.
jump on.
Oh, he just jumped.
I actually can't remember how he gets rid of him. I think he just kicks him, maybe?
I think so. I like how just boom, he's got a knife.
Yeah.
You didn't see him pull it out or something. Oh, he just kind of threw him away. That was easy.
Wow.
Oh, that's an insane shot.
That is.
Classic.
No, Leonard's over there, I think. Yeah.
Mm. Oh, this part's so cold too. Oh wait, no, I think it's. Yeah. Ah.
Oh,
Oh
God,
boy.
the detail. You really feel like they could
Yeah,
call at any
such
moment.
detail. And I like this, how he actually is, like, appealing to him, to his humanity. Like, please help us. And you think, oh, maybe he's going to do it. And I wonder if he's almost considering it, but he just can't.
I wonder, because I that moment's always struck me, and I really believe in it. Like, I really believe if you were that desperate, you would ask even Leonard for help.
Yeah.
Oh, God, and the foot falling.
Yeah, and then that falls, and then he's dead.
That's very sporty. Using real.
Yeah, not sure how he pulls this off here. But...
Wow. And then you really end right in the midst of the action.
Yeah. It's so strange because I always think like that moment's so intense you almost don't believe that they made it to the happy ending.
Yeah, it's really
like,
kind of incredible.
You don't really see it, so yeah. And then back on the train.
That it was one of your teachers who thought that was the train going to the tunnel was a metaphor for you or what?
Sort of a double entendre.
Yeah, it's like
I can see that, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I can see it, but I sort of resist it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's like it's also great to end on an image of something in motion because the movie's so kinetic and dramatic. It's like you want to end with the train clattering away. You don't want to end with like a nice tidy shot of them sitting in their apartment having tea.
Yeah, in a way it might have been reading too much into it, I think, to say that. And also, people were sort of in a way. I mean, this isn't true, but it seems like they were kind of naive back then, so they might not have like immediately thought everything was a double entendre.
I'm sure it went over the head. Yeah, a lot of
and
people
nowadays people are like, ooh.
nowadays everybody will want to like.
Yeah.
You know, another thing I think is really interesting is like more like big movies now. Like there's a lot more that happens at the end.
Yeah.
You know, and there's like, you know, a scene where like maybe the characters talk about what's happened and reflect on it.
And this doesn't have that at all.
Yeah, and it's like
Boom.
I'm kind of a big fan of the talking and reflecting thing.
Yeah.
Because I like to come down, but I don't miss it at all here.
No, it works here. You
This is
just
so
get, you're
right,
kind of,
yeah.
it works.
Well, gosh, the movie's over.
Movie's over.
We've survived our journey from, you know, Madison Avenue to some weird house that apparently is perched somewhere on top of Mount Rushmore. I feel good, as I always feel when I watch this. I mean,
yeah,
man,
me too.
What a masterpiece.
That wraps up our commentary on North by Northwest. If you like this podcast, and why wouldn't you, please click thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. And I know I always say don't follow us on Twitter, but I actually do update it now. So you can follow us on Twitter at T.H.O Movie Reviews. And check out all the great reviews and content we have at thomoviereviews.wordpress.com. As always, please comment. Did you like what we were saying? Did you disagree with us? Were you somewhere in the middle? We don't care. Just comment and let us know what you think about North by Northwest. Once again, I'm Bennett Campbell Ferguson. I'm here with Fiona Ferguson. And from all of us here at T.H.O Movie Reviews, happy movie watching.